Had this game taken place some 2 or 3 months ago, it would certainly have been a banker home win. Well, Leeds United since then, although they've maintained their drive at the top of the second division, when you take a closer look at their record, you see that they've won only twice in their last 8 outings, drawn twice and been beaten 4 times, and their latest defeat coming at Swindon last Sunday. They've also got today Chris Kamara and Imre Varadi on debut, and manager Howard Wilkinson brings Vince Hilaire and Chris O'Donnell in for their first outing of the season, and they're both the substitutes. Hull City, under the management of Stan Ternent, have really turned the corner. They've lost only one of their last 7 games, that one a thumping home defeat by Bournemouth by 4-1. They've moved from the bottom of the table to 5th from the bottom, and things certainly looking up for the Tigers, and it's those 2 comparative records that will certainly add a lot of spice to today's game. Taking a look at the teams, Mervyn Day in goal for Leeds, Kamara on debut at 2, Beglin moves across to 3, Vinnie Jones, Chris Fairclough and Peter Haddock. The skipper Gordon Strachan is at 7, David Batty at 8, Lee Chapman at 9, Imre Varadi joins him in that front line wearing 10, his first game for the club. John Hendry is at 11, thankfully recovered from a thigh strain, and Vince Hilaire and Chris O'Donnell are the substitutes. The Hull City side line up with Ian Hesford in goal, Neil Buckley and Wayne Jacobs, Richard Jobson, Steve Terry and Ken Demange. They've got Gareth Roberts at 7, the skipper of the side, 11-goal Andy Payton at 8, Dave Bamber at 9, Billy Askew at 10, Stephen Doyle at 11, and Graham Atkinson, and the Maori, Harry and Garter, is the other substitute. Today's referee, Mr. David Axel, the game already underway, and Dave Bamber leaning heavily there on Chris Fairclough to win that header and conceding the first free kick of the game. United's injury list seemingly growing by the moment. Absent today, Mel Sterland and Michael Whitlow, the 2 fullbacks. Bobby Davison and Carl Schutt are also both missing from the lineup, and the ball still bobbling about there on the edge of the Hull City box, and finally it's Varadi's overhead, easily collected by Hesford. And just to complete United's injury lineup, as I say, Andy Williams recovering from injury, and of course Clint Snowden, victim of wretched ill fortune with this persistent virus. Good header there from Fairclough, and a better one from Vinnie Jones, knocking the ball on. Bamber's offside, and Dave Bamber, who was quoted this week as saying that Leeds United's offside trap annoys him, he doesn't like the style, and he was a player that Howard Wilkinson took a look at earlier in the season, and he reckons he's got the better of the deal, joining Hull City 5th from the bottom of the table, moving of course from Stoke, who are the last club in the second division. Vinnie Jones, that's a great ball from Jones, gives Kamara a chance to show his paces to the byline. It's a hard low cross. Well, a loud appeal from the crowd there for a penalty, but not given, as David Batty tumbled down there. So already Kamara showing that he has a liking to link with the attack, and that a role of course adequately filled by Mel Sterland when that player is fit. Fairclough again with a header for Leeds. Vinnie Jones forward. It's a long ball and Steve Terry pumps it away. Only as far as Batty. Kamara does well. Nice footwork. Beaten in the end by the sliding tackle from an ex-Leeds player, Ken Demange. But Kamara already shown that even at 32 he looks well worth the relatively small fee that Leeds paid to bring him from Stoke City. Vinnie Jones with the long throw. In towards Chapman on that near post, and Hesford slightly judging the length of the ball better than Lee Chapman did. And the former Blackpool and Sunderland goalkeeper collecting that ball and taking plenty of time before pumping it hard downfield towards Andy Payton. Stephen Doyle. Steve Terry back to his keeper. Hull City were anchored at the bottom of the table for an awful long time this season, and indeed without a win for an awful long time. But they seem to certainly have got their act together under Stan Ternent, and they include in their victims away from home West Ham United, Plymouth Argyle, Wolves and of course Bradford City. So they're no slouches on their travels. Good header on from Chapman, didn't find Varadi. And Terry, who looked as though he had a little bit more time than he thought he had, putting that ball into touch. United are bound to take time to settle to their game today with 2 men on debut. There's one of them, Chris Kamara. And the other one, Emre Varade, looking to make something of that long through ball. Varade should be the ideal partner for Chapman. The two have played together before. It's the small, dark runner and the tall centre forward who'll win his fair share of ball in the air, as Bamba did then against Fairclough. But good work by Haddock. Good header on from Chapman. Again, Terry first to the loose ball. Well, the referee had already decided, by the way, that Dave Bamba was offside prior to that ball going into touch, and that's the reason why Leeds will restart with the free kick. Haddock pumps it forward. When he was looking for Chapman. Batty. Well, he needed to find the feet, really, there of Kamara. And that ball a little bit too far behind the fullback. Kamara getting a reminder from Chris Fairclough about who he should be picking up. And between the two of them, they ensure that Bamba doesn't make connection with that ball. When Jacobs down the line. Fairclough again. Nice to see John Hendry in the side. Scored a wonderful goal at Swindon last Sunday, although the team were beaten, and suffered the problems of a thigh strain during the week. David Batty. Nice control from Batty, but demands robbing him, and Doyle pumping the ball forward. No offside. Jim Beglin, where he played so many games for Liverpool in the left-back role. Started there, of course, this season for Leeds, and that's a nice ball inside to Askew, whose return pass, intended for Andy Payton, was of much less quality. Beglin, as I say, began his Leeds United career at left-back, played only one game there before being out of the side for an awful long spell and resuming at right-back. Vinnie Jones down the line. Good header on by Chapman. Steve Terry's main aim, certainly during the early stages, seems to be to clear his lines, whether he gives the ball away or not. Kamara this time with the long ball. And that's got Steve Doyle scuttling back, and Strachan wins out. And unfortunate there for the Leeds skipper, his toe poke. Unable to find any supporting Leeds player anywhere near him. Don't want to sound like a prophet of gloom, by the way, my early comments about the game. Leeds United, of course, still 3 points clear at the top of the table, and it would take a couple of freak results in this match and indeed in Sheffield United's game to dislodge them from that position. And indeed, I think it would be rather nice today for Leeds to justify that position at the top and also confirm Hull's position as one of the second division strugglers by giving them a pretty good walloping. Free kick awarded there for a foul by Lee Chapman in the back of Billy Askew. So no corner for Leeds, free kick instead for Hull City. The Tigers, of course, coming from a city where rugby league is really the king sport. Hull FC and Hull Kingston Rovers both vying for crowds, although in truth neither of them playing their games on Saturdays as a regular matter, of course. And the Tigers certainly have a big crowd potential. A few problems there on the touchline. John Hendry, who clashed earlier with Billy Askew, having a few words again after conceding the free kick for the foul on Jacobs. And referee David Axel having a quiet word with Hendry, not to the approval of the cop. Askew hoists the long ball in. Mervyn Day allowing that ball, I suspect, to run dead. I was looking for confirmation from the touch judge on the far side, and he seemed to give confirmation. But Mervyn Day instead playing on. Jim Beglin. A little bit of room to move. Got Vinnie Jones inside in support. Elects to go long. But even the pace of Varady won't take him on to the end of that one. Interesting character, Imre Varadi, known as Ray to his pals. It's the third time he's signed for Leeds manager Howard Wilkinson, twice at Wednesday. And now for the third time here at Elland Road, and he'll be hoping that the partnership with Lee Chapman that he forged at Hillsborough will be just as fruitful here at Elland Road. Well, I think the intention of the through ball was right. Strachan was never really going to get on the end of that one, and Gareth Roberts instead was the man sweeping up for Hull City. A one-club player, Gareth Roberts, played over 450 games for Hull City. Skipper of the side and a real little tiger. Kamara's header. Terry pumps that one forward for Payton. It's 1 against 1 at the back. Andy Payton does very well indeed to hold off Peter Haddock, but then concedes the free kick. Very dangerous character, Payton. Kamara on the break for Leeds. Little chip over the top. An intelligent ball from Kamara. And Richard Jobson makes a lot of ground across to turn that one into touch. And Leeds certainly taking the game to Hull City during the early stages. 10 minutes gone. Nice close control from John Hendry. And battling hard as well. Kamara. Chance for the cross. Well, an unusual header from Varadi. He was looking straight at the West Stand when he headed that ball. And Hesford, at the end of the day, having to turn it over the top. So good play from Ray Varadi. That's the nearest either side have been to a goal. And it brings Leeds United the first corner of the game. Strachan. Well, Chapman getting the header, Hesford making the catch. That's a bad throw. Strachan, a chance to pump one in. And I think it was perhaps Jim Beglin who was offside. In fact, it was Ray Varadi offside on the far side of the field. Referee says play on. Askew the through ball. Bamba's not offside. Day pumps it clear. Very solid work from Day. And that ball turned back by Neil Buckley. Not relishing the attention from Imre Varadi. So the first moments of excitement in the game. Lovely leap from Fairclough. And an intelligent header from Vinnie Jones. Beglin only finds Terry. Been fascinating to see the way Vinnie Jones has developed this season. He obviously always had the skills, but it was always going to be very difficult for him to display them at Wimbledon, and that's with all due respect to the London club, where of course he'd gained a reputation for being a man who could stop others playing without contributing too much himself. But the way he's developed at Leeds, I think, has surprised a lot of people all around the country. Kamara down the line. Batty does nicely, steps inside the first challenge. Got Beglin free on the left. Nice ball, lovely ball from Beglin too. Strachan, Varadi, Leeds moving smoothly now. This is lovely stuff. Beglin with the chance to cross. It's behind Strachan, in front of Varadi, and eventually cleared by Jobson. Hendry and Askew. These two seen a lot of each other already in the early stages. Kamara the chance to cross, and it's a good cross. Chapman just couldn't control the header. Loose for Beglin. Batty again, the chance to build. Well, Kamara was looking for Jones. Dimanche and Doyle work it clear between them. And Haddock, coming across at speed there to deny Dave Bamber a touch, can only pump the ball into the West Stand. But the action in this game has been very good indeed during the opening stages. And that last cross from Chris Kamara, just what United have been looking for all season, to pull that ball away from the keeper. It had Hesford in two minds, and it gave Chapman a half-heading chance. United have settled very early to their work today, as I said earlier, bearing in mind they've got two debutants in the side, and Lee Chapman playing only his fourth game. One might have expected them to take them just a little longer, but they've gone straight at it